us a little bit about this show and what drew you to it.
Boy, do you want to?
So I was just reading the name. When
Oh yeah, I
Nerds
love
Attack.
that. I love it.
That sounds like the opening for a trailer. Sorry. What was the question?
What drew you to this project and to your characters?
I was excited about the opportunity of doing science fiction again because I've only dabbled with science fiction on 2 occasions. This is the 3rd occasion, and I think the idea of doing something that was written by George R.R. Martin was really cool, and then I got to meet the executives, and I found out who was working on it. And then they said that you can be the captain of the ship, and I was like, where do I sign up? That was really cool. And I was just like wanting to speak the space jargon. Cut the check, I'll make it happen. And it was literally that's my honest answer.
Similar that I was interested in. I haven't done a lot of sci-fi. I haven't done horror. I mean, the genre, the idea that instead of, with things that I've done, I feel like you're often moving it with the words and the character. And in this case, the character was going to be full-fledged and addressed, and that was exciting and grounded. But I was kind of up for just going on a ride, literally, and doing something different. And what happened was I was given the script to read, and I read that the teaser that you saw. I was about the first 7 or 8 pages of the script, and I was supposed to be reading Agatha, and I was like, she does and yet that's the first 7 pages. I'm dying to know how this woman got from this sort of nervous to be in space person, not really totally given over to the mission, to then doing what she does in that scene, and all the screams and flying and blood in between. I was just ready. I was just up for something different, and we had such a nice team of people. Mike Cahill was the director of the first one, and I had seen his film Origins, which I thought was really strong, and so his vision was exciting. They were using all the lenses from Alien, and when I saw the spaceship, it was just every single thing along the way was surprisingly being very cared about and looked, and it was elevating the material on the page even more. So it was really a nice adventure. Yeah.
Space and being hard, those movies tend to be very claustrophobic, very tight and enclosed. What's the feeling like on set, between everybody? Is it just one big we gotta do this?
Yeah, I mean, certainly towards the end, approaching the finish line, it felt like that.
Yeah.
Camaraderie level was just grew higher because everyone, we just needed each other. Do you know what? I really enjoyed working on the show, but what I did find challenging is you're inside all the time and not getting to go outside to get fresh air. Simple little things. You just become more sensitive to your climate, and I think aside from that logistical thing, I think it was just about my personal challenge. It was always about making this thing feel grounded. We just so happen to be in space, but this story should carry the truth, and you should be able to set it anywhere. Put it in space, put it under sea, put it on the moon, whatever. And that was really important to me, to be invested in the truth of that. So no matter if we're talking about Vulcans and this thing and that thing, the truth of these characters we're invested in. I think if the audience can relate to our characters or can root for our characters, then I believe we serve a very important purpose, because that's what it's about.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Last question, guys. Okay.
So when you thought about when you going through the scene, you said down towards the end it got really, really, really tough. Do you ever take yourself out or through something, say, in this situation I was really faced with, I'm on a ship and have to deal with this situation. Do you think you would ever be able to handle it yourself or based on your own experiences?
Wow.
I'm such a wimp. No, I don't know. But I think when you put yourself, what I think is an interesting thing in general, whether you're living in a war zone, whenever you read about people in real distress, the survival instinct in humanity is strong and kind of miraculous, really. And what we can dismiss or compartmentalize somewhere else, and in order to survive, so that whether it's trauma, whatever it is, and I'm always amazed about the human spirit in that way, and I used the thought of that in this because if you were putting yourself in these situations, just as like Gretchen walking off the street, I would be like in shock on the floor and never, I would be passed out and done. But because we are all here, the instinct to survive is so great, and so you don't react to every single thing that happens. You get used to a heightened level of being, and so you kind of accept certain things. That was an interesting thing to kind of play with, I think, and
I think that's so truthful though, to compartmentalize certain traumas in order to survive. It's a very, someone might say it's a very heady thing. It could be also very primal, because it's about survival. And oh fuck, someone just lost an arm. Right, I need to stay.
Yeah, literally that
and
kind
it
of
gets
thing.
to that level.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly from episode.
What?
I'm writing that spoiler down right now.
Dangerous.
Say it again.
I'm just like,
Don't worry, you're amongst friends.
I feel myself flying from the chair, like elevate. Take me now.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.